precisely, my question to you is that how should we train our mind to focus on what truly matters?
See, the thing with that which truly matters is that once you know it, you cannot ignore it. Tradition tells you in advance, this is important, right? You must pick such and such subjects in class 11th and 12th. That kind of college is wonderful. That stream offers great opportunities. How do you know all these things are important? I'm not saying they're not important. I'm saying the definitions must be your own. The problem is when you allow it to enter your interiors. There are some things that a young man, young woman should do very, very individually, without interference, without fear, and without the burden of tradition. You're grown-ups. You must question. You must ask. You must inquire. You must experiment. Because if you have ready-made definitions of what is important, then you will never come to what is truly important.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Gurnur Kaur, class 11th. First of all, your words have provided enlightenment about success and a lot more things, I feel, not only to me, but each one of us sitting over here. As you mentioned earlier, that there are a lot of distractions, particularly at this age, like social media nowadays and constant comparison. Also, the temptations to opt for shortcuts. So precisely, my question to you is that how should we train our mind to focus on what truly matters?
By knowing what truly matters. See, the thing with that which truly matters, the thing with that is that once you know it, you cannot ignore it. So just knowing it is sufficient. Once you know what is really, really important, you will be helpless. You will be choiceless. You will no more have the option to see it and yet unsee it. To come to its greatness and then turn your back to it. That will become impossible. So seeing is sufficient. But how do you see? How do you know what is truly important? By not being in a hurry to accept the definitions of importance handed over to you by tradition. See, tradition does not want you to independently figure out what is important in life. Tradition tells you in advance, this is important, right? You didn't decide it for yourself. You were told such things are important, right? And you just bought them. You didn't even buy them. You believed in them. Now that has to stop. You're grown-ups. You must question. You must ask. You must inquire. You must experiment. Because if you have ready-made definitions of what is important, then you will never come to what is truly important. You must reject all the definitions that tradition has handed over to you. You must pick such and such subjects in class 11th and 12th. That kind of college is wonderful. That stream offers great opportunities. Now, whatever opportunities mean, there is great scope in that field. And what the word scope means always remains fuzzy. But these are buzzwords, no? Scope. Now, what does scope mean? What do you mean by scope? We don't know. Potential for what? We don't know. What kind of success? Now you have reached this age. Now you must start thinking of getting married. And once you are married, you must start thinking of having kids. And then one kid does not suffice. You must have another one. All these things are very important. You are now 35 and you still don't have a house of your own. Where is the house loan? Where are the EMIs? Why is your car so small? It's important to have a big one. How do you know all these things are important? I'm not saying they're not important. I'm saying the definitions must be your own. And then, if on your own, independently, in your own discretion, in your own wisdom, if you decide that these things are indeed important, then so be it. Then it's fine. But don't take these things on a platter, on face value. Just because somebody says it is important to be like that or do that. No. I'm not rejecting you. I'm asking you to explain. I'm just saying this is something so intimate that I must be allowed to independently come to it. These are not things that one person can decide for another. There are some things that a young man, young woman should do very, very individually, without interference, without fear, and without the burden of tradition. In many things, we can accept rules made by others, right? For example, on the road, traffic rules. You don't need to be a rebel there. You don't need to say, I'll drive wrong side because that's my individuality. Or I'll drive only in reverse gear because who are you to tell me the rules? My life, my rules, and I drive in the reverse. No, that's stupid. When it comes to small things, external things, then we can accept rules made by others. That's fine. That's fine. I didn't decide the dimensions of this stage, and I'm okay with it. Fine. And there have been smaller stages, and there have been stages that are 5 times this width. That's fine. These are small things. I don't need to worry about these things, right? But I'll be very, very particular that the content is very individual. That what I'm saying to you, our relationship here is very intimate. Nobody can decide what I'm going to tell you, say to you, because this is not something somebody should interfere in. Yes, you can dictate all other things. Fine, that's fine. That's fine. Are you getting it? And when you are able to independently inquire into what's really important, first thing that happens is a lot of unimportant things, they disappear from life. A fresh space gets revealed because the nonsense is now out. That this nonsense was never being revealed as nonsense. This nonsense was being touted as some of the most important things in life. Oh, you must look pretty as a girl. That's very important. That's very important. Why don't you look pretty or dainty or attractive? Are you getting it? You must ask, why must I? No, I'm not rejecting. I'm inquiring. Why must I? Who am I? What is meant by attraction? What is meant by attractiveness? When these kind of things they are out of the window, then there is space for the truly important to reveal itself. As long as, please note this, your mind is cluttered with trivia, the really important thing will remain buried beneath the trivia. So you don't really need to discover what is important. It will show up. But it can show up only, first of all, when you have cleared away and decluttered the nonsense. Rejection is important, very important. And if your age, you cannot inquire, question, reject, then what's the point? We said tradition is not truth, mind you. Huh?
So, first off, everything that you've said today, that has truly changed my way of thinking in some way. And my follow-up question would be that we just talked about tradition not being the truth and all the buzzwords that are thrown at us. So I feel that in today's world, there are a lot of students, a lot of brilliant young minds who do try to rise above it. But somewhere or another, there is this notion that the one who goes against tradition, the one who tries to defy it, is somehow the one in the wrong. So, how does one truly rise above this tradition?
No, let that notion be there on the outside. There are other people who carry that notion. Why must you carry that notion? You may, or somebody here may, or many people here may carry the notion that somebody wearing a yellow blazer is stupid. That's fine. That is your notion, not mine. Are you getting it? People are free to carry whatever the notions they can. People carry all kinds of weird notions. Let them carry their notions. As long as it exists outside of you, you're all right. It's like the virus, the coronavirus. Let it be there. Everything has a place under the sun. All these pathogens have been existing in jungles and their own native places since the beginning of time. Let them exist there. If a virus exists in the jungle, in the bat, how does it trouble you? The problem is when you allow it to enter your interiors. Don't give it access. This has to be your sacred spot. Your mind has to be your temple. Not all thoughts, no random ideas can be given access to this place. This is what is sacredness.
As you mentioned, that it's not always the case that we should agree to the age-old tradition, the age-old principle that has been laid out from the years, from the ages. But on the other hand, we see that we can rely on thinkers, from the people, from historical instances that have done something great at their time. But we see that every era, every situation has different circumstances, and it's not like that we can always rely on the principles that were laid out at that time. So I just want to know that how can we tune in their message, their principles, the ideals that they lived up to?
They never give you do's and don'ts. Typically, a great one will not give you principles. The great one is great because he inspires you with his struggles. He does not impose his principles on you. What you will find in his or her life is a lot of relentless inquiry and living up to challenges. It is not the job or characteristic of the great one to impose his thoughts or ideas on somebody else, especially the coming generations. That's not what the great one is ever going to do. For example, Gita, somebody talked of. The Gita is not an idea. The Gita does not consist of a set of principles. There is ruthless, raw questioning involved there. And the Gita exhorts you to ask questions, similar questions. Are you getting it? Your question is, why must I accept the answers that are coming from another century? What I'm saying is, if those things are coming from the greats, they will not be in the shape of answers. Rather, they'll be in the shape of questions. They'll tell you not to accept easy answers. That's what the greats tell you.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.